Hi friends, so today we are going to be making some Sashiko patches. So first off, let's do our supplies. We need some Sashiko thread, and then we need some needles. Sashiko needles are very different because first of all, the length of it makes sewing easy, and then the eye of the eye of the needle is a little bit bigger than the regular sewing needle because the Sashiko thread is a little thicker. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and set those guys aside. You need those, and this is the most important tool. It's your palm thimble. Your palm thimble goes in your middle finger, and this is how I hold my needle. It's long. When it's long, you're able to do this. And so what I do is I go into my fabric and start sewing, and you don't see my hand, the butt end of the needle, it's sitting right there. So now it helps provide that pressure to push your needle through your fabric, and you gotta have it because it saves your hand and your palm from poking through your skin. And when you do Sashiko so much, you're gonna love this piece. So I use this all the time. I cannot do Sashiko stitching without this because I feed many different stitches through my needle. So I could sew this whole length here without having to pull my I don't know if you can see where my needle is sitting right there, and it's help pushing. So I can feed a lot, I can feed more, and it helps, makes the process faster when I do that. So that's that. So I'm gonna use this one. I don't need any needle threader, but these are helpful. So you could use them to thread your just simply put your I find them really awkward to use, and you just pull it through. Here's another kind of needle threader. I like this better, just because it's a little bit more finer. The eye is much it's easier, and you can use them with regular sewing thread. You just basically feed this to the eye of your needle, and then you feed the thread on this eye here, and you pull. So this is a good tool to have as well. I also have this guy, and it's supposed to go in place of that. Goes like that, and it's much more comfortable than this. Again, I don't really use it that often, so we'll give them a try and see how they work. What else do we need? I sometimes use glue depending on how many pieces I put in my Sashiko patch, and this is not necessary. This is optional because I sell my patches. I want to make sure my pieces do not fray or unravel, so I use fabric fusion just to seal my edge of my fabric. You see, I just run a line on each edges. This way it stops the fraying, and sometimes I do that with my patch as well, my little fabric patches. So yeah, but it's optional. And what else? I do like when you wash your patches along with your jean or jacket, some of these edges are gonna fray a little bit, and I kind of like that look. So, but because it's a patch, I want it to stay nice and strong because I also sell them. So, and then you need basically a pen. A white one usually is what I use because my fabric are usually in blue, indigo blue. And so, and then I need a ruler, a nice clear ruler like this. It helps me guide my pattern to like 1/4 of an inch or so, just for marking. And that's pretty much all I need, and obviously your scissor, and then of course our Sashiko patches, whatever patches we want to make. So so let me move this aside. Oh, here's some samples of patches I've already made. Let me show you. It's just various. I just take variety of different Japanese fabric. I typically use Japanese fabric, but I'm getting ready to start exploring different fabric as well. I'm sure it'll work. I just don't know how well it's gonna sew for me. So, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. But so, and here are just some of the pattern that I have created already. So that's just to give you some sample. All these are going to be going into my shop. So some of my patches, I typically go odd number on my patches. Like most of it has 3 patches, 3 different fabric. This one has 3 fabric, 3. This one I'm starting to just kind of go outside the box and then just do 2, and then I just added additional stitching on there. And like this one is only 2, but the color of the fish is just kind of, you know. And then this one only have 1. Again, I have that, but I think I'm gonna go around and add color onto this one. This one has 3, and then this one has 3. So it just really depends, and I really want to go outside my comfort zone and start exploring other means of processing my my project here. So all right, so I've already marked this guy, and let's go ahead and see what kind of patchwork we can put on here. I have this guy's here, so let's do something red. I got a tub of different types of Japanese fabric here that I have set aside that I choose from. These are really pretty. Indigo dyed blue, and then this guy right here. So let me see what we can do. I like this little guy. Let's try this guy right here. Cutting the fabric too, I always try to pick the pieces. So to me it's a little big that way, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just trim this guy maybe a little bit more over here. I'm gonna put her right there. That is really cute. So I think I'm gonna just stay with one here, and so I can begin just doing some stitching here. So here we go. Sashiko typically do not have any knots, so I always like to just start off always just start off on the three stitches. I'm not gonna follow my line because those lines are a little bit big. I'm just gonna stick to the patch right now. So 1, 2, and what's important too is keeping your stitches pretty uniform when stitching your stitches here. So I do not have a knot. Sashiko never use knots, so I just pull that at the end there, and how they lock it is you just go back a stitch or two above that, just to secure it, and then proceed to stitching. Okay. I'm using my palm thimble to push the fabric through my needle. I always try to end on the top of my fabric just to give it a little bit more tap to that fabric, and it doesn't move anywhere, just to secure that fabric a little bit more. Okay, let's see how this looks, and then always put just a little bit of give there so your fabric does not bunch. Okay, so that's how it looks, and then you just go and stagger your stitches. So I'm gonna start just right below that last stitch where it was empty. It's kind of hard to see right now because of the color in the fabric, and then you're just gonna offset that up and down, up and down. When I get to the lighter color, I'm gonna show you what I mean by staggering it, because we're white on white here. It's difficult for you guys to see what I'm trying to say. That might take a little bit, but hopefully you'll see it on this. On this stitch. Okay, maybe once I pull the thread you can see. Always leave just a little bit of gap, tug room there. So here's my stitches. You can see on the gold. So this is my first, and then on the second one I went and staggered it. So there was a negative space there, and that's where I placed my next stitch, and then I went negative on here because there's one over there, and so forth. So I don't know if you can see, there's a little bulk in there, and then all you gotta do is pull it from there. There, now you don't see it anymore. So all I need to do now is just proceed, continue on going up and down, and then over here we're gonna try and do some basically running stitch, and then we're gonna fill this up with I think I'm gonna use some red. So alright, so I'm gonna finish this and then I'll bring you back up when I do this. Okay, so I'm coming to an end on my thread here. It's a little bit short now for me to keep moving, and to securely tack this without putting a knot. I mean, there's nothing wrong putting a knot, but for me it's cleaner to not put a knot. So I just go back like a couple of stitch, drive my needle in there, and I'm basically going under this stitch to make it invisible. And then I just pull it right through, and this is how I secure my stitches. As you can't even see, I went under those stitches. That's how you secure your Sashiko, and then you just cut it. All right, Okay, so put a new thread. Now we're gonna start a new stitches. We always go 3 stitches backward, like I'm starting the opposite, because I'm gonna go back. Okay, I'm gonna pull this tail where it's gonna disappear, and then I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna pick up a couple of stitches right in front of that last stitch, go just underneath, and then start. Let me just pull it just to make it easier. There you go. And then just tuck this nice, and then we just start. I like to go check on the front just to see where that negative ended, and then we just proceed from there. All my fabric are pretty much cotton. Sometimes I use denim fabric as my base on my patch, but for the most part they are all Japanese fabric, cotton fabric. And the stitching really has some nice texture to the project, and surprisingly enough, it makes the fabric feels really nice and soft. So let's go ahead and work a running stitch on this side. It would just be running stitch. Now you're probably wondering, what am I gonna do with all the lines I have on my fabric? They are washable, so once I'm finished, I will just soak it in water just for about a few minutes, and then just dry it. Everything comes right off. Okay, now I can show you what I mean by staggering it. So I ended here. That's where I ended there, and I'm gonna start right below it. Ooh, you probably can't see with the camera. I don't know. I can't see what the camera is looking at the moment. I am praying that everything is getting captured, because I can't see my monitor. So just staggering the stitches, because it gives it a nice clean finish too when we do this. It takes time, but the more you can uniform the size of your stitch, the prettier it's gonna look in the end. At some point you're gonna learn that you don't really work your needle anymore. It's you pushing the fabric in and out of the needle. And it is so much easier that way too. So, but it's just getting used to technique. Okay, I think I'm good with this length, and that's what it looks like. So okay, let me work on this, and then I'll show you the finished. Okay, so normally this will be a pattern of stitches. We start off with running stitch and then we cross everything, but since this guy is, I'm only putting a few of these stitches on here, I've gone ahead and also just put a knot on my stitch there, and I'm just gonna go do a running stitch around this, doing your best not to touch your stitches in the center. this is gonna look like you have a little flower. I'm trying my best to keep my stitches all uniform, but it's quite hard. Size of a, but okay, so that's one. I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed to the next one. Just stabbing my fabric. I don't know the word, but stabbing your fabric is another way of describing or explaining Sashiko stitching. So the marking helps just a little bit. There, that looks much better. And then I'm just gonna go weave my... Okay friends, so I think I'm gonna leave this as is. With this guy, I just finish it with a knot on the back. So, and this is gonna be a patch anyway, so it's gonna be patched onto something and you won't see the back of it. So, sometimes you just gotta use what you think is best to secure a specific project. So yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm just gonna go ahead and wash it. I don't know, maybe I might add 2 more. I think I'll just leave it at this. I don't know, I feel like I want to add something more in here. Maybe I'll move these 2 stitches up here somewhere, but I kind of like it the way it is, so maybe I'll do some running stitch to finish it off. So, and that's what it looks like. And so yeah, that's how I make my Boro patches. So if you have any question, just put them down on the comment below and I'll be happy to answer them the best way I know how. So alright friends, y'all take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I will chat with you again next week. Bye bye.